Beloved chosen one, heaven watched you stand when everything in the world wanted to see you collapse. You didn't just survive, you stood, trembling maybe, scarred perhaps, but still standing. You stood when the storm howled through your spirit and every voice of darkness told you to give up. You stood when the people you trusted walked away and when the prayers you prayed seemed unanswered. Yet you refused to curse God. You refused to surrender the purpose burning inside your soul. You did not bow to fear, and heaven noticed. Listen closely now, because this moment is not coincidence. It is divine intervention. Heaven itself has pressed pause on everything around you to tell you this: what you endured was not wasted. What broke you did not win. Every sleepless night, every tear that fell onto your pillow, every quiet whisper of God, "Please help me," was heard by the one who sits on the throne. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not behind schedule. The truth is, you were being watched not by the world, but by heaven. Angels took record of your endurance. When you thought you were unseen, the hosts of heaven leaned closer. When you whispered, "I can't take anymore," the Spirit whispered back, "You can." You didn't even know that your act of standing when everything told you to fall was a declaration of victory in the spirit realm. The war wasn't just around you, it was within you. The battlefield was your mind, your faith, your hope. The enemy didn't come to steal your car, your job, or your comfort. He came to steal your belief. He came to silence the voice of destiny inside you. But even in your weakness, you clung to God. You refused to curse His name. You refused to let despair speak louder than faith. That chosen one is what made heaven rise to its feet. You may not realize it, but every time you said, "God, I still trust you," even through tears, it echoed through eternity. The angels heard it. Demons trembled at it. Heaven celebrated it. Because what terrifies darkness the most is not a loud preacher or a perfect believer. It's the one who stays faithful in silence, the one who still worships in pain. You became that warrior. There is a roar from heaven with your name in it. Heaven rejoiced the moment you decided to keep believing, while hell celebrated what it thought was your collapse. Heaven was already preparing your comeback. You may not have seen it yet, but in the unseen realm, crowns are being shaped, blessings are aligning, doors are forming, and divine timing is moving into place because you simply did not quit. Now, the same God who saw you crawl through that valley is the one lifting you higher. You are not at the end. You are at the beginning of glory. The pain did not disqualify you, it confirmed you. You are not broken beyond use. You are refined for purpose. Heaven does not celebrate perfection, it celebrates endurance. You endured. You remained. You kept faith alive when hope seemed gone. It was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God." This is what heaven declared over you the entire time you thought you were alone. That same promise still stands. He is with you. He has been with you, and He will remain with you. Every weapon formed against you failed because the commander of heaven's armies stood between you and destruction. You are stepping into a season where the evidence of your endurance will begin to manifest. The people who once questioned your faith will see your glow. The same ground where you wept will become the ground where you dance. What felt like delay was actually divine protection. What seemed like silence was God's strategy to prepare you for visibility. Chosen one, your standing was not in vain. Heaven saw it, celebrated it, and documented it in eternity. So take a breath and lift your chin, because you are not the one who gave up. You are the one who endured when giving up seemed easier. You are the one heaven applauded when earth misunderstood. If this word touches your spirit, don't let it fade away. Let heaven see your agreement right now. Like this message, share it with someone who needs to remember they are seen by God. And comment 7777 below as a prophetic sign that you are still standing in the grace that carried you through the battle. There was a war no one saw, chosen one. While others laughed, worked, scrolled, and slept, you fought in silence. The battles that left no bruises on your skin but left scars on your spirit, those are the ones heaven remembers most. The kind where you had to wake up every morning pretending everything was fine while inside something was bleeding. You smiled when your heart was breaking. You encouraged others when your own faith trembled. You kept showing up when every cell in your body screamed for rest. You didn't realize that your endurance became warfare. Each breath you took while feeling empty was a strike against darkness. Every time you whispered, "God, I still trust you," the atmosphere shifted. You weren't just surviving, you were pushing back legions of despair that sought to swallow your light. That is why the enemy hated you so much, because even in silence, you were dangerous. There are wars that take place not in the flesh, but in the unseen realm. You may have felt weak, but your spirit was roaring. You may have felt alone, but armies of angels surrounded you. You may have doubted your strength, but heaven never doubted your purpose. What was happening inside you, those spiritual contractions, those moments of pressure, were not punishments. They were birth pains for something holy. The hidden war within you was never about what you could lose. It was always about what you could carry. Darkness saw the calling on your life long before you did, and that's why the attacks came so early, so personal, so relentless. It wanted to make you question your worth, your sanity, your God. But what it underestimated was the flame inside you, the one that even trauma couldn't extinguish. That flame wasn't yours, it was divine. It was placed there before time began. You have walked through emotional minefields that others wouldn't have survived. There were nights when your heart felt like a battlefield. Thoughts exploding, fears rising, faith flickering. But through it all, you remained. You may not have felt victorious, but every second you refused to quit was victory. Heaven's definition of victory is different from the world's. The world celebrates the visible wins. Heaven celebrates the invisible endurance. Sometimes, God hides his strongest warriors in plain sight. They look ordinary. They speak softly. They blend in, but in the spirit realm. Their very presence disrupts darkness. You are one of them. You don't need validation from people when heaven has already stamped your soul with divine approval. You've faced accusations, misunderstandings, betrayals, and silence. Yet even in that silence, something sacred was happening. You were being trained in secrecy. The wilderness didn't come to break you, it came to build you. The tears you shed in secret became oil in your lamp. They are the reason your light now burns purer, steadier, stronger. Every battle within you taught you something priceless. Pain taught you empathy. Loneliness taught you intimacy with God. Rejection taught you self-worth that doesn't depend on applause. And disappointment taught you to trust the timing of heaven. Nothing was wasted. Every storm inside your heart was sculpting your spiritual authority. The next time you feel that unseen war rising again, remember that you are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from victory. The outcome has already been sealed by the blood of the Lamb. Every shadow you face trembles because it knows you carry light that cannot be extinguished. You may still have questions, you may still have wounds, but you are no longer the same. The fire within has refined you. You no longer react to storms, you command peace in them. You no longer fear darkness, you shine through it. And that transformation, quiet, unseen, powerful, is what makes heaven proud of you. Scripture says in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This verse isn't theory, it is the story of your life. You have wrestled unseen powers, not with your fists, but with faith. And though the battle has been long, you have not lost. The war within is not your enemy, it is your awakening. For in every struggle, you are being shaped into someone darkness cannot deceive and fear cannot silence. The hidden war within has revealed the truth about you. You are a warrior disguised as a survivor. And though the world may never know the full weight of what you've overcome, heaven does. It recorded every silent victory, every whispered prayer, every time you chose faith over fear. There are prayers that never needed words. Chosen one, heaven heard the language of your tears long before you spoke. There were nights when you had no strength left to pray, when the only sound that came from your soul was a sob. But in that silence, heaven listened closer. The walls of your room became the altar, and your tears became offerings. You thought no one noticed. You thought your pain disappeared into the dark, but heaven recorded every drop. There is power in tears, because they speak what words cannot. Each one carried the weight of your story, your longing, your faith, your hope, your heartbreak. You didn't cry because you were weak. You cried because you cared deeply, because you refused to grow cold even when life tried to numb you. Your tears did not fall to the ground unseen. They fell into the hands of a Father who treasures every piece of your heart. In your moments of silence, when you had no scripture to quote, no strength to stand, no worship left to give, the Spirit Himself interceded for you. Heaven heard your pain translated into a prayer more powerful than any sermon. The sound of your weeping was the sound of surrender, and surrender is where transformation begins. You need to understand your tears are not evidence of defeat, they are evidence of connection. They reveal that your heart is still tender toward God, that no matter what you've faced, you haven't hardened. That softness is strength. The world may say, "Be strong, don't cry," but heaven says, "Blessed are those who weep, for they will be comforted." Think of it this way. Every tear that has ever fallen from your eyes has been caught, stored, and remembered. When you felt unheard, heaven was collecting your prayers in liquid form. When you felt invisible, the Creator of galaxies leaned close to listen. When you wiped your face and whispered, "God, please understand," He did. He always did. The enemy wanted you to believe that crying meant failure. But in truth, it was the sign that your heart still belonged to heaven. You didn't let bitterness take root. You didn't let hatred consume you, and you felt the pain. And instead of turning from God, you turned toward Him. That is the difference between the lost and the chosen. Where others run away, you run into the arms of grace. The tears you thought were wasted are becoming rivers of restoration. They are watering the seeds of promises you cannot yet see. Every heartbreak has become holy ground. Every sigh has become sacred sound. There are breakthroughs forming from the soil of your sorrow. We find in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. This is not poetic exaggeration, it is a heavenly reality. The God who numbered the stars has also numbered your tears, and every one of them carries purpose. They are not reminders of what broke you. They are reminders of what built you. One day, you will see the harvest of what your tears have watered. The laughter that's coming will be louder than the pain that tried to silence you. The joy that awaits will make sense of every tear you cried in faith. Heaven is faithful to those who have wept their way through battles and still believed. So, chosen one, don't regret your tears. Don't hide them. They are proof that you loved, that you hoped, that you still believed in something greater than yourself. You didn't give up. You broke open. You allowed the Spirit to move through your pain instead of running from it. That is courage in its purest form. Now, I want you to declare your faith publicly in a simple act of agreement. Comment, "I'm still here." Because when you write those words, you're not just typing letters, you're declaring resurrection over your story. You're telling the heavens and the powers of darkness alike that no amount of pain was enough to erase your purpose. You're still here, still chosen, still breathing, still believing, and heaven is still celebrating you. When you comment, "I'm still here," you're not just agreeing with words, you are prophesying over your own life. You are testifying that even after everything that tried to destroy you, you have remained. It is a declaration that says, "My story didn't end in pain, it continues in purpose." So type, "I'm still here." Let heaven and hell both witness it. You are confirming that grace sustained you, that faith carried you, that divine strength kept you standing. These 3 words are your spiritual banner, a reminder that the chosen ones don't disappear in storms. They rise from them, radiant and unshaken. There was a night, chosen one, when you almost let go. A night when the weight was too much, the silence too heavy, and the light too far. You remember it, the air thick with despair, your heartbeat slow with exhaustion, your soul whispering, "Maybe this is it." That was the night the battle became unbearable, when hope flickered like a candle in the storm. Yet somehow, you're still here. You didn't know it then, but heaven was watching that night more closely than ever before. The moment you almost gave up was the moment grace moved closer. When your strength failed, mercy took over. When your heart broke, divine hands caught the pieces. You weren't alone, though the silence made it seem that way. The Spirit of God hovered near you, unseen but unshaken, whispering life into your lungs. There are moments when the line between holding on and letting go feels razor thin. You had reached it. Your faith felt worn, your prayers dry, your heart numb. You weren't sure if God still heard you. You weren't sure if you even wanted Him to. The pain had become a language of its own, one you were tired of speaking, yet even in that weariness, something sacred remained, the faint pulse of belief that refused to die. That fragile faith was not weakness, it was strength disguised as surrender. Heaven saw it, heaven celebrated it. Because it takes courage to stay when everything in you wants to flee. It takes divine strength to say, "I don't understand, but I'll still trust." That night you thought you failed. You actually won. You defeated the voice of despair that said there was no point, that you had no purpose, that God was distant. If you could see what heaven saw that night, you would never call yourself weak again. Angels stood guard around your room, shielding you from the spirit of hopelessness that sought to claim you. Demons that had whispered lies were silenced by the authority of the name of Jesus spoken softly through your tears. And while you sat there thinking you were forgotten, the very breath you took became a declaration of resistance. You didn't realize that your decision to stay, to live one more day, to believe one more time, was warfare in its highest form. Because the moment you chose life, you chose alignment with heaven's plan. You chose to say, even unknowingly, "Not my will, but yours be done." Many look at the strong and think they have never broken. But heaven defines strength differently. True strength is not never breaking. It is breaking and still choosing to love. It is walking through the fire and refusing to let it harden your heart. That night you almost let go. Your heart was purified in a way only pain can accomplish. You see, when the world falls away, when no one understands, when even words lose meaning, that is when the soul meets God face to face. It's not in crowded rooms or loud songs, but in the quiet where you whisper, "Help me." That whisper is the most powerful prayer in existence because it carries no performance, no pretense, only truth. And truth is what heaven responds to. The same God who heard Elijah under the broom tree and David in the caves heard you that night. He didn't just see your pain, he entered it. He wrapped himself around your weary soul and whispered, "Not yet. There's more for you. Your story isn't over." The Spirit spoke through the psalmist long ago. In the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That verse wasn't written for someone else, it was written for you. It is a love letter from eternity to your midnight moments. When the darkness pressed in, he drew near. When your tears blurred your vision, he held your face in his light. You didn't know it, but the very moment you almost gave up became the moment God proved his presence. Now look back not with regret, but with reverence, because that night, something in you died. Yes, but something holier rose in its place. The illusion that you were alone shattered, the false belief that you were unloved dissolved, and what remained was truth. You are held, chosen, carried. Every chosen one faces that night, the night of almost. But those who belong to heaven never stay there. You rose, slowly, quietly, painfully, but you rose. And because you did, heaven calls your name with honor. The battle didn't end in your defeat. It ended in your awakening. There was a moment, chosen one, when heaven rose because you chose faith over fear. That exact instant when you said, "I will not give up." The atmosphere shifted, angels stood to their feet, trumpets of victory echoed through eternity. It wasn't loud on earth, but it was thunderous in heaven. You didn't see it, but the moment you decided to trust again, heaven celebrated louder than you could ever imagine. You must understand this, your faith became a song, not a melody sung by lips, but one sung by your soul. When you believed while bleeding, it became music in the courts of heaven. When you forgave those who hurt you, it became harmony. When you prayed, even after disappointment, it became rhythm. Heaven danced to the sound of your endurance. It is written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 10. There is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. This joy isn't limited to salvation alone. It stretches to every act of surrender, every time you choose to turn toward light instead of shadow. The moment you said, "I still believe," heaven rejoiced as if the universe had just been reborn. Because faith, real faith, is resurrection in motion. It takes what was dying and brings it back to life. Think about it. Chosen one, heaven celebrated you. The quiet warrior, the one who prayed with trembling hands, the one who kept walking even when the path disappeared. You thought no one noticed, but the Creator of all saw it all. He saw the courage hidden in your tears, the devotion hidden in your pain, the hope hidden in your silence. Your decision to stay faithful made the heavens sing. The angels saw you rise from ashes and said, "That one still believes." You may not have felt strong, but heaven called you victorious. You may not have seen light, but heaven saw the fire in you still burning. And now, the same heaven that celebrated your endurance is inviting you into deeper partnership. When heaven moves, it often uses hands and hearts on earth, just as rain falls through clouds. Blessings flow through people willing to open their palms. The message you are hearing, the words reaching your heart, these are part of a divine stream meant to carry light into dark places. If this voice has ever reminded you that you are seen, if it has helped you stand when you wanted to fall, then know this: you are part of something much bigger than a video or a message. You are part of a movement of light, a wave of restoration, a gathering of souls who refuse to let darkness have the final word. That is why I invite you not as an obligation, but as an opportunity to help keep this light flowing. Think of it as adding one more flame to a great lantern that guides others home. Every seed sown, every small act of generosity, becomes another spark that lights the path for someone else's healing. When you choose to donate, you are not just giving money, you are pouring oil into a lamp that keeps the message of hope burning. You are saying, let this light reach one more broken heart. It's like placing another stone in a bridge that helps others cross their valley. No one is forced, no one is pressured. It is entirely an act of love. And if you can't give financially, your prayers, your likes, your shares, your subscription, all are precious. You can like this message as an act of agreement, a silent whisper that says, yes, I receive this. You can share it like planting seeds into unknown soil, letting truth travel where you cannot go. You can subscribe as a way of saying, I want to walk with heaven's rhythm every day. Every small action keeps the river of grace flowing outward. Every light needs oil to keep burning. Every voice of hope needs a community to keep echoing. You are that community. You are the oil that keeps the flame alive. So today, let heaven see your heart once again free, generous, and full of faith, whether through a small donation, a share, a like, a subscription, or simply by being here. You are part of the story heaven is writing. Because heaven doesn't just celebrate one victory, it celebrates every act of love that follows. And right now, it celebrates you not for what you give, but for what you've become: a vessel of light, a reflection of grace, a reminder that goodness still exists. Keep shining, chosen one. Keep believing and keep partnering with heaven's heartbeat. For what you do in faith, no matter how small, echoes forever in the realm where angels still sing your name. Chosen one, your scars carry glory. You once saw them as reminders of defeat, proof that you were broken, that you failed, that life left its mark on you. But heaven sees differently. Heaven calls them seals of victory. Every scar upon your heart, every wound that healed but never disappeared, is a testimony written in your flesh and spirit. You see, the world hides scars, but heaven reveals them. The resurrected Christ still bore his wounds not as shame, but as proof of triumph. Your scars are not evidence that you were destroyed. They are evidence that you survived. They are the signature of God saying, this one passed through the fire and came out purified. There were seasons when you thought the pain would never end. You looked at your reflection and wondered if you'd ever feel whole again. But look closer now, your scars have become stories. The very thing that once made you cry now gives others courage. The places that once bled now bleed glory. Each scar you carry has a name: endurance, forgiveness, faith, resilience. They are the hidden jewels of your spirit, glowing in the dark. You didn't escape untouched, but you did escape undefeated. And that's what makes heaven proud. There is something sacred about pain that didn't kill you. It becomes a bridge of empathy, a doorway through which compassion flows. You no longer speak from theory, you speak from truth. When others say, I don't know if I can make it, you can look them in the eyes and say, I've been there. That is not weakness, that is authority. The same way gold is refined by fire, you were refined by sorrow. The flames didn't consume you, they revealed your value. You are stronger now, quieter perhaps, but deeper. You no longer need to prove yourself, you simply walk in a peace that only survivors know. It was written in the second letter to the Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. That glory is resting on you now. It doesn't shout, it radiates. It's in your calm when chaos rises, in your laughter after loss, in your wisdom after wounds. You no longer react like before because you have seen too much to fear what's ahead. You have endured too much to doubt what God can do next. Chosen one, do not hide your scars. They are the language of heaven written on your life. Each mark says, grace held me, love rebuilt me, God never left me. Your scars are where light escapes, where others will find healing through your transparency. You were never meant to appear flawless. You were meant to appear faithful. Heaven doesn't celebrate untouched perfection. It celebrates redeemed imperfection. The scars of the chosen ones are crowns in disguise. They tell the universe that you have walked through the valley and come out still singing. That's why you feel different now, because you are different. You have been changed by the fire, shaped by the storm, kissed by mercy. Even your silence carries power now. The enemy can no longer use your past as a weapon because you have turned it into testimony. You no longer hide the pain, you hold it as proof that grace is real. And now, heaven invites you to declare that truth openly, to mark this moment not with shame, but with celebration. At this very point, comment 444 below. That number is not a spell, not a ritual, it's a symbol. It represents divine stability, angelic protection, and the completeness of what God is building in you. When you write it, you're saying, my pain has purpose, my scars have meaning, my story stands on holy ground. Let your comment be your covenant, a way of telling heaven, I understand now my scars are not my ending, they are my evidence. Because the light shining through you today was born from every crack the enemy tried to shame. And heaven, even now, is still applauding the glow that came from your brokenness. When you comment 444, you are echoing heaven's rhythm of stability and restoration. Those 3 fours speak of divine order being reestablished in your life, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit aligning your steps again. It's your way of saying, I am rebuilt, I am rooted, I am restored. So type 444. Let it be more than a number. Let it be your testimony. Every digit becomes a declaration that heaven's hands are steadying your path, that angels stand guard around your purpose. You are no longer defined by wounds, you are defined by the wonder that rose from them. There were moments when the enemy believed he had won. Chosen one. Moments when everything seemed to crumble and the weight of opposition pressed down until you could hardly breathe. Every scheme, every whisper of defeat, every shadow that tried to convince you to stop it all failed. The enemy's assignment was clear: to silence your purpose before it matured. But heaven had already spoken another word over you, and no force of darkness could rewrite it. You see, what was meant to destroy you became the soil where your strength grew. Every disappointment became a root pushing you deeper into divine stability. The enemy thought he could bury you, but he didn't realize you were a seed. Seeds are buried too, but only so they can rise. He tried to use pain as poison, but pain became your teacher. He tried to use loss as a weapon, but loss revealed your value. He tried to use isolation to break you, but solitude became your sanctuary. That's how heaven works. It takes every weapon formed against you and forges it into a crown. The enemy's assignment failed because it underestimated the resilience of grace. Grace cannot be defeated. Because grace is not earned, it's gifted. And you, chosen one, have carried that gift even when you didn't understand it. You've walked through storms that were designed to erase you, but instead, they refined you. What was supposed to end you prepared you. What was meant to bury your voice trained your authority. Every lie spoken against you became a platform for truth. Every rejection redirected you to purpose. Every betrayal pushed you closer to the heart of God. What you thought was punishment was actually preparation. That is why the gates of hell tremble when you wake up each morning, because you are proof that failure doesn't have the final word. If only you could see from heaven's perspective. Angels saw every trap set before you, every snare designed in secret, but God turned them into stepping stones. The same situations that were meant to humiliate you became the very paths that elevated you. The enemy's arrows only revealed how strong your armor had become. And the more the enemy attacked, the more heaven invested in you. The pressure around you was evidence that something powerful was forming inside. The resistance wasn't a sign that you were off course, it was confirmation that you were on the right one. Destiny attracts warfare because destiny carries light, and light always exposes what hides in the dark. You might still remember those dark nights when you thought, why me? Why so much? But looking back now, you can see how every breakdown became a breakthrough, how every loss cleared space for what truly belonged to you. Heaven was not punishing you. It was protecting you from premature comfort. The truth is, the enemy never had the power to destroy you. He could only tempt you to destroy yourself, but you didn't take the bait. You held on. You waited when others walked away. You trusted when others mocked. You believed when belief felt foolish. And for that, heaven calls you victorious. There's a holy mystery in your survival. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was divine interception. God stepped in between you and destruction more times than you'll ever know. There were traps you never saw, words you never heard, and moments you never sensed, but heaven shielded you from all of them. What once looked like chaos was actually choreography. The path you walked wasn't random, it was designed to teach you discernment. Now you can recognize the whispers of darkness before they even form. You have grown in spiritual authority without even realizing it. You no longer fear the enemy because you have seen how powerless he truly is before the plans of God. Word by word, step by step, you've turned what was meant for harm into glory. You didn't curse your journey, you sanctified it. You didn't escape your calling, you deepened it. That's what makes you dangerous to hell. You carry both wounds and wisdom. You don't just speak light, you are light. And now, heaven looks upon you not as a survivor, but as a conqueror marked with purpose. You are not defined by what attacked you, but by what could not kill you. Every time the enemy failed, heaven built something stronger in its place: faith, vision, compassion, power. You were never losing. You were learning how to reign. It is no longer about what the enemy tried to take. It's about what God gave in return. Peace for panic, authority for anxiety, purpose for pain. Every failed assignment of the enemy has become a testimony that echoes through eternity. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Heaven has a record, chosen one. Every silent prayer, every whispered "help me," every time you obeyed even when it hurt, it's all written. Nothing you've done in faith has gone unnoticed. The unseen moments when you held your peace instead of fighting back, when you forgave instead of retaliating, when you stayed instead of running, those were the moments heaven documented as victories. There's a divine archive, a book that holds the history of endurance, and your name is written there. While the world measures success by applause, Heaven measures it by obedience. You may have thought you were just surviving, but in heaven's eyes, you were establishing legacy. Every act of perseverance added another line to your heavenly record, a record of faith that cannot be erased. Many times you wondered if your obedience mattered. You prayed and saw no answer. You gave and received no thanks. You served, and no one noticed. But the truth is, heaven noticed every single time. The moments that seemed forgotten on earth are celebrated in eternity. When you held your tongue instead of responding in anger, heaven called it worship. When you chose to walk in love while your heart was bleeding, heaven called it power. When you showed up even though your strength was gone, heaven called it warfare. You've been winning battles without realizing it. You've been making history in realms unseen. Sometimes the rewards of obedience are delayed, not denied. God often hides the results until the foundation of your character is ready to carry the weight of the blessing. That's why you've been waiting longer than others. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Heaven never forgets what earth overlooks. In those quiet seasons where nothing seemed to move, you were still being watched, not with judgment, but with admiration. The hosts of heaven saw you choosing integrity when compromise would have been easier. They saw you tithing with an empty wallet, loving people who didn't love you back, forgiving when forgiveness felt impossible. That kind of obedience is rare, and heaven treasures it. One day, you'll stand before the throne, and the very acts that cost you the most will shine the brightest. The hidden sacrifices, the silent battles, the quiet prayers, they are the gold of eternity. They will speak on your behalf louder than any words could. The word of truth reminds us in the letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. This is heaven's reminder that nothing righteous is wasted. Even when you felt weary, even when you doubted if it was worth it, you were planting eternal seeds. And now, the soil is shifting. The harvest is beginning to rise. You might not see the full picture yet, but heaven has already scheduled your reward. Every tear you cried watered a promise. Every step you took through pain was an investment in divine timing. Every time you chose God over comfort, you were building currency in the invisible realm. Heaven's economy doesn't work like the world's, it multiplies faith, not fame. And when the moment comes, when that heavenly record opens, you will see the truth. Nothing was forgotten. The prayers that seemed unanswered were stored for a greater release. The delays were doors being carved for divine entrance. The silence was God writing a longer chapter than you expected. So don't despise your hidden season. It is your proof of trust. The people who mocked your patience will soon witness your reward. Because heaven doesn't pay in applause, it pays in transformation. Every time you said yes to God, the universe shifted slightly closer to redemption. You may not see that movement, but heaven does. You've been part of divine architecture, building something eternal through ordinary obedience. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time in heaven's record. The moments you thought were wasted were actually sacred transactions between you and eternity. Heaven has kept the books open, and your story continues to be written not in ink, but in glory. One day, you'll see how heaven's ledger overflowed with your unseen faithfulness. Every unnoticed yes, every quiet surrender will rise like light in eternity's dawn. You'll realize you were never planting in vain. Heaven was simply waiting for the perfect season to unveil what your obedience had been building all along. So take heart, chosen one. Your record in heaven is not a list of failures, it's a testimony of faith under fire. When you finally see the pages written with your endurance, and you'll understand nothing was forgotten. Nothing was wasted. Heaven remembers everything, and every line tells the story of your victory. When the first light broke through, Chosen One, it didn't just touch the sky, it touched you. After a long night of confusion, doubt, and silence, a faint glimmer began to rise inside your soul. You felt it before you saw it, the quiet warmth returning, the breath of peace whispering, "It's not over." That was grace awakening you again. The storm did not last forever. The sun was always waiting behind the clouds. There's something sacred about dawn after darkness. It doesn't arrive suddenly, it unfolds like a promise kept. You had grown accustomed to shadows, to living in survival mode, to expecting little light. But heaven had already scheduled your morning. Even before you cried out, God had commanded the light to return to you. You didn't have to chase it, it came gently. It found its way through the cracks in your heart, illuminating places that pain had claimed. That first flicker of hope, small, trembling, but alive, was heaven's whisper. You still have a future. Chosen One. That is the mystery of divine restoration. It does not erase the night, it redeems it. The very darkness that once blinded you now makes the light shine brighter. You began to feel something shift, dreams stirring where ashes once lay. Peace replacing panic, stillness conquering chaos. What was dead began to breathe again. When heaven releases light, darkness cannot negotiate, it must flee. That is what happened in your spirit. What once felt heavy became weightless. What once felt endless found its ending. You are living proof that no darkness can imprison a soul that belongs to God. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah in chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." This isn't just a verse, it's a command from heaven directed at you. Arise. Don't crawl out of the shadows. Rise with strength. Shine. Don't dim yourself to fit what broke you. Your light has already come, it doesn't need permission to stay. You are standing in a new dawn now, one that carries no echo of shame. Every step forward is holy. Every breath you take is an act of defiance against what once tried to silence you. The sunrise over your life is not just physical, it's spiritual. It is the return of joy, the restoration of purpose, the resurrection of everything you thought was lost. You no longer chase light, you carry it. It moves with you, speaks through you, heals through you. That's why the world around you will begin to notice the change. It's not your strength they'll see, it's heaven's glow within you. The night wanted to convince you that you were forgotten, but the dawn has proven otherwise. You were never abandoned. You were being prepared to shine. Even your scars catch the light now, shimmering with stories of survival. You are no longer a victim of shadows, you are the vessel of sunrise. And now, I invite you to seal this awakening with a simple declaration of faith. Comment, "I rise." These two words are more than a phrase, they are resurrection in motion. When you write them, you are aligning with heaven's command spoken through Isaiah. You are saying, "My time in darkness is over. I rise into purpose, into peace, into divine promise." This comment is your agreement with heaven's new chapter over your life. It is not just a response, it is a prophetic act. You are not waiting for the light to find you anymore. You have become the light. And as you rise, the world will see that dawn has a name, and it's written across your spirit. When you comment, "I rise," you are not repeating words, you are declaring resurrection. Those two words are heaven's language spoken through your fingers, confirming that your soul has stepped out of the night. It is your personal sunrise. The moment your faith stands taller than your fears, radiant and renewed, type "I rise." Let it be your agreement with heaven's rhythm. Every letter carries the sound of chains breaking, of hope stretching its wings again. You're not just rising for yourself, you're rising for generations who will find courage through your story, for hearts that need to see someone stand again. When you say, "I rise," the heavens take notice. Angels record your declaration as prophecy fulfilled. The chosen one has awakened. You become living proof that grace wins, that darkness never has the final word. Stand tall. Chosen one, your rising is the dawn the world has been waiting to see. There is a crown being shaped for you. Chosen one, a crown that carries the weight of every tear, every trial, every act of faith no one saw. It isn't made of gold that fades, but of light forged from endurance. Heaven has been crafting it while you've been walking through the fire. Every season of pain became a gem. Every moment of obedience became a link in that heavenly circlet. You are being shaped for royalty. Not the kind the world applauds, but the kind heaven recognizes: humility wrapped in glory, strength wrapped in gentleness. You are a living testimony that endurance refines, not ruins. The pressure that once made you tremble has been polishing your spirit until it shines. You are not being punished. You are being prepared for coronation. The Apostle James wrote in his letter, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." This is not metaphorical, it is prophetic. The crown of life is the reflection of your victory in eternity. Heaven has already begun to fit it upon your spirit. The more you surrendered, the more it was shaped. The more you trusted, the brighter it became. But understand this: heaven does not crown isolation. It crowns community. The light placed in you is meant to ignite others. You were never meant to wear that crown alone. It shines best when reflected in the eyes of others who find hope through you. That is why this message exists, not as performance, but as a vessel carrying light from heaven's throne into hearts that are dimming. Each word spoken is a spark, and every listener becomes a torchbearer. You are one of them. You are part of heaven's tapestry, where every story of endurance weaves together into one radiant design. If these words have touched your heart, if you've ever found strength here when you had none left, then you have already been part of this divine exchange. It's a circle of grace. You receive light, and that same light flows outward through you. And so, I invite you not as a condition, not as duty, but as a sacred opportunity to help keep this light flowing. When you donate, it's not a transaction, it's participation in the divine act of creation. It's like adding a new string to a heavenly harp so the song of hope can keep playing for someone else lost in the dark. Think of it as placing one more candle in the window of a house that guides wanderers home. Every small contribution is a flame. It says, "Let the next soul find warmth before they freeze." You don't do it because you must, you do it because your heart has been warmed before, and you want that warmth to continue. If giving isn't possible now, that's okay. You can still become a carrier of light by liking, sharing, or subscribing to this message. When you like, it's not a button, it's a heartbeat saying, "I agree with heaven's truth." When you share, you open a window for someone else's sunrise. And when you subscribe, you're not joining a page, you're joining a purpose. You're saying, "I want to walk where the light keeps flowing." Each of these small actions creates ripples you cannot see. Somewhere, someone's darkness will lift because you chose to act. Heaven moves through hands, hearts, and quiet decisions made in faith. There's no pressure here, only invitation. You are free, always. The beauty of the kingdom is that love never demands, it draws. Giving, sharing, joining, it's never about obligation. It's about saying yes to what already lives inside you: compassion. Imagine your donation, your share, your support, like drops of oil being poured into a divine lamp. The light grows, the room brightens, and people you'll never meet will see clearer because of your simple act of faith. That's what partnership with heaven looks like. It's luminous, generous, and eternal. Chosen one, you are part of something much greater than algorithms and screens. This is a living altar made of words and faith. Every time you support it, heaven breathes through it again. So whether you give a seed, a share, a moment, or simply a prayer, know that heaven sees it, honors it, and multiplies it. Because every act done in love becomes eternal currency. Your crown is being finished not in secret, but in service. You've already earned heaven's applause. Now you're helping others find theirs. That's what the crowned ones do. They lift others until all the world glows in gold. There is a sound in heaven that carries your name. Chosen one. It is not a sound of mourning or loss, but of celebration, a melody woven from your endurance. Every time you chose faith over fear, that sound grew stronger. Every time you forgave, every time you got back up, heaven added another note to the song that now bears your name. You may think your life has been quiet, unseen, ordinary, but in the unseen realm, it has been thunderous. The very act of surviving when you could have surrendered has produced a resonance that angels recognize. It's a sacred sound familiar to the courts of heaven, born from the rhythm of a beating heart that never stopped trusting. Heaven knows your name not because of fame, but because of faith. There are names on earth that echo for a season, but there are names in heaven that echo for eternity. Yours is one of them. It is spoken with reverence, wrapped in light, carried on the breath of worship. You have become a testimony written not with ink, but with endurance. Your very existence has become a declaration that God's mercy still moves. When you prayed in silence, your voice became a song in the spirit. When you wept, your tears harmonized with heaven's symphony. And when you worshiped through pain, your sound reached frequencies that only the broken and the holy can produce. There is a book in heaven where your name is engraved, not penciled, not temporary, but etched in permanence. And with it is written every moment you chose love over bitterness, truth over comfort, faith over logic. It's not that heaven merely remembers you, it rejoices in you. You are not a forgotten prayer. You are a fulfilled promise in progress. The Apostle John wrote of this truth in Revelation. Chapter 3, verse 5, I will never blot out the name of that person from the book of life, but will acknowledge that name before my Father and his angels. That acknowledgement has already begun. The angels who once watched you struggle now sing because of your endurance. Your name is known where light is born. It is whispered in the corridors of eternity as a reminder that faith still works and love still wins. You see, heaven doesn't forget the sound of a heart that stayed faithful. It's the kind of sound that lingers. Like the echo of a bell long after it has been struck. Every time you speak life, that sound rings again. Every time you show kindness, heaven's melody expands. No, you are not simply existing, you are composing something eternal. You may have wondered why you've always felt different, why crowds never truly understood you, why silence has often felt more like home than applause. It's because you were tuned to a higher frequency. The world moves in noise, but your spirit moves in harmony. You carry heaven's tone in your being. The sound of your name in heaven is not made of syllables, it's made of meaning. It carries the weight of every miracle you didn't see coming and every trial that didn't break you. When the angels hear it, they don't think of what you've done wrong. They remember how fiercely you refused to let go of light. Chosen one, Understand this, the universe responds to sound. Heaven spoke creation into being. When you speak faith, you join that same creative force. Your words have power because they are rooted in heaven's soundscape. That's why even your whisper carries authority. It vibrates with the resonance of the one who called you chosen. And now, every time you speak, pray, or worship, heaven harmonizes with you. You are not a single note, you are part of a divine song still being composed. Every trial that once silenced you has now become an instrument. Every scar has become a string. Every victory adds a new chord of grace. So when you feel small, remember your life is music to heaven. Your name is not lost among the stars, it shines as one of them. And the melody that began with your pain now plays as a hymn of glory that can never be silenced. Heaven sings your name not because you are perfect, but because you are redeemed. And each time you breathe, that song grows louder, echoing across eternity. The chosen one still stands, still shines, still believes. When heaven sings your name, it is not a faint whisper, it is a triumphant chorus woven with love. Every breath you take adds another note to the eternal melody of redemption surrounding you. You are heaven's song made flesh, a living harmony between grace and courage. Wherever you walk, the sound of your faith reverberates, turning ordinary moments into divine music. Something has shifted in the spirit. Chosen one. You may not have seen it with your eyes, but your soul has already felt the tremor. A divine rearrangement is taking place around you. The old battles are losing strength. The old weight is lifting, and a new rhythm of grace is unfolding. The things that used to drain you now hold no power. Heaven has changed the atmosphere. There was a time when it felt like you were walking in circles, repeating lessons, revisiting pain, reliving disappointment. But that cycle has ended. You have passed the test. Every moment of endurance has unlocked a gate, and now you are stepping into new ground, an era marked by clarity, authority, and divine alignment. This shift did not happen suddenly. It was built from the quiet moments of obedience when no one was watching. It was birthed from your yes to God in the dark, from your choice to trust even when you couldn't trace His hand. You didn't realize that each act of faith was turning the gears of destiny, setting heaven's motion in your favor. When heaven shifts something, everything connected to you begins to move. Relationships transform, paths open, blessings that once seemed blocked start to flow freely. It's as if the wind itself has changed direction and now blows in your favor. Don't be surprised when things begin to align easily. This is not luck, it's divine order finding you. The Spirit of God spoke through the Apostle Paul in the letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. This is not just a comforting promise, it is a law in the spiritual realm. Every disappointment, every delay, every detour has been rearranged to fit your good. What once looked like a setback was only a setup for what's next. The shift in your spirit means that heaven now trusts you with more. You have proven that your heart can handle both blessing and burden without losing its purity. You no longer chase validation, you attract purpose. You no longer react to storms, you command peace within them. This is spiritual maturity, and heaven celebrates it. Chosen one, you are entering a phase of divine acceleration. What took years before will now unfold in months. What seemed impossible will become natural. Not because circumstances are easier, but because your spirit has grown stronger. You have learned to walk in rhythm with heaven's heartbeat. There will be moments of divine déjà vu. Places that once represented pain will now host restoration. People who once left your life will return, not for closure, but to witness what grace has done. Every unanswered prayer will begin to make sense as heaven reveals why the waiting was worth it. You are no longer surviving, you are shifting. The atmosphere around you recognizes your authority now. The words you speak carry weight. When you bless, heaven echoes. When you pray, doors move. When you declare, darkness trembles. This is what happens when a chosen one steps fully into divine alignment. Now, to seal this season of shift, to mark the new alignment heaven has set over you, I invite you to write this simple prophetic number in the comments: 888. The number 8 is the number of new beginnings, and 3 8s represent a triple portion of renewal and overflow. When you comment 888, you are declaring that your life is turning the page, that old cycles are broken, and that the winds of heaven now blow in your favor. You are not who you were last season. You have been transformed by the refining fire of obedience. The atmosphere recognizes your new sound, and heaven has already adjusted its rhythm to match your step. Every path ahead has been cleared, every delay redefined, every wall prepared to fall. This is your divine shift, and you are ready to move with heaven. Comment 888, not as a number, but as a declaration. My new beginning has come, and I walk in the fullness of what heaven has written for me. When you comment 8888, you are not just typing numbers, you are marking a moment of rebirth. Each 8 symbolizes a door opening, a circle completed, a destiny renewed. It is your spirit's way of saying, I accept the new, I release the old, I am ready for overflow. Type 888. Let it be your signature of agreement with heaven's new rhythm. These 3 8s declare that your steps are aligned with divine timing, that new beginnings are multiplying. As you write them, imagine the chains of yesterday falling and the gates of tomorrow swinging wide for your arrival. Heaven is clothing you with authority. Chosen one, the mantle of the overcomer now rests upon your shoulders, not as a symbol of pride, but as a sign of divine trust. You have walked through valleys, stood in fire, and yet kept your faith intact. Now heaven responds not with pity, but with promotion. You are no longer the wounded one. You are the warrior, anointed and appointed for such a time as this. The mantle you wear is invisible to the world, but radiant in the spirit. It carries the scent of prayer, the fragrance of obedience, and the weight of glory. When you speak now, your words hold spiritual substance. They do not merely sound, they shift, because every word you release comes from a heart that has been purified by trial. The process was never meant to humiliate you. It was meant to train you. The crushing you endured was the pressing that released the oil. You were never abandoned, you were being equipped. Heaven does not crown the untested. It clothes those who have bled for belief. Now, when you enter a room, the unseen realm recognizes your presence. The very air bends toward the authority you carry. You are not the same person who once trembled at fear. The mantle upon you has changed how creation responds to your voice. What once ignored you now yields to you because heaven's mark rests upon your words. The Apostle John saw this mystery when he wrote in Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. That is your story. You did not overcome by your own strength, you overcame through testimony and blood. Through every fall and rise, through every night you thought would never end, your testimony was being written. And now, when you speak, it carries power because it carries truth. The mantle you bear is not just for survival, it is for service. You have been entrusted with empathy forged from experience. You know what despair feels like, so you can now speak life into the weary. You know what betrayal feels like, so you can now comfort the broken. You know what waiting feels like, so you can now guide others with patience. Every wound that once weakened you has become a weapon of compassion. Heaven clothes its chosen ones not with crowns first, but with assignments. The weight on your shoulders is not just honor, it's purpose. It's the call to intercede, to speak when silence feels safer, to love when bitterness seems easier. The mantle requires surrender daily, but it rewards you with peace that cannot be imitated. You may not see the full extent of what has changed, but the spiritual world does. Angels move when you pray now. Darkness retreats when you worship. The atmosphere shifts when you simply say, Jesus. You carry an authority that cannot be counterfeited because it was purchased through pain. This is what the mantle of the overcomer looks like. It doesn't glitter. It glows. It doesn't demand attention. It commands respect. The humility you've learned is now your armor. The wisdom you've gained is now your sword. And both are forged in the same fire that once tried to consume you. Chosen one. This is why your journey was never random. Every betrayal stripped away dependence on man, so you could depend on God alone. Every delay purified your motives, preparing you for influence without corruption. Every heartbreak carved out deeper wells for compassion. So when you pour out love now, it comes from abundance, not lack. Do not doubt what you carry. Even when you feel ordinary, the mantle does not lift. It is not powered by emotion, it is sealed by covenant. The same God who placed it on you sustains it through you. From this day forward, walk with quiet confidence. You don't need to prove who you are. The mantle already speaks for you. You don't need to announce your authority. Heaven already knows your name. And when you move, mountains recognize your command because you have learned the secret real power flows from surrender. You have overcome not just because you endured, but because you transformed. You emerged from every trial more aligned, more humble, more radiant. And now heaven calls you by a new title, not just survivor, but sent one. The mantle rests, the oil flows, and the kingdom advances through you. You wear what fire could not destroy, authority born from endurance, beauty refined by pain. Walk boldly now, chosen one. Every step you take carries heaven's imprint. You are living proof that what was meant to break you has instead become the very source of your divine power. There are moments, chosen one, when heaven itself begins to rewrite family history because of one obedient heart. You may not realize it, but your yes to God has changed the spiritual climate of generations. You have become the hinge upon which destiny turns, the key that unlocks doors your ancestors never walked through. What once was a pattern of pain has met a divine interruption for years. Certain battles have repeated in your bloodline, cycles of fear, addiction, betrayal, poverty, rejection. They moved from one generation to the next, unchallenged, until heaven raised you up. The curse thought it had legal ground, but your obedience broke the contract. What your family accepted as normal, heaven calls finished. Every time you said no to what was easy, you were undoing what darkness had normalized. Every time you forgave where others held grudges, heaven marked it as victory. You were not just fighting for yourself, you were fighting for every name connected to yours. That is the unseen power of the chosen ones. Their faith becomes a doorway for deliverance. You were born into certain battles not because of punishment, but because God trusted you to end them. He knew that through your wounds, you would discover His healing power. Through your lack, you would learn His abundance. Through your pain, you would uncover His purpose. You were born to be a breaker of cycles. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9, declares, "Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God. keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments. That covenant didn't skip your name. It runs through your veins now. What began as struggle in your family line will end as story in yours, a testimony of redemption written by your surrender. You are the evidence that God's promise outlives the curse. When you chose forgiveness, heaven began cleansing the bloodline. When you chose purity in a world that glorifies compromise, you purified your family's inheritance. When you chose prayer over bitterness, you rewrote generational memory. Heaven looked at your lineage and said, "It ends here, and it begins new." The reversal of the curse doesn't always happen with noise. It happens through quiet choices repeated in faith. You didn't have to be perfect. You only had to be willing. Every prayer you prayed, every tear you shed, every moment you kept believing when history told you not to. Those were your acts of spiritual rebellion against darkness. There were days when you wondered why your battles felt heavier than others. It's because you weren't fighting just for yourself. You were carrying the weight of many, pulling entire generations into freedom. The resistance was greater because the impact was eternal. But now, the warfare is turning to worship. The same ground that hosted bondage is now holy because you stood on it with faith. The blessings that were delayed are being released in multiplied measure. Dreams unfulfilled by your ancestors are finding completion in your hands. Opportunities once blocked are now flowing freely because you refuse to repeat the patterns of pain. Heaven honors that courage. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. Behind you, healing is flowing backward, touching the past with mercy. Ahead of you, favor is flowing forward, preparing the way for those who will come after. Your children and your children's children will not have to fight what you've already conquered. The enemy knows this, that's why the attacks against you were so personal. He wasn't just trying to break you. He was trying to keep your bloodline in bondage. But he failed every time he struck. Grace expanded. Every time he whispered defeat, heaven whispered destiny louder. Chosen one. Look around you now. The air feels different because the atmosphere has changed. The curse has reversed its direction. What once drained your family will now flow as blessing. Where there was confusion, there will be clarity. Where there was division, there will be divine unity. You have turned the story around, and though you may still feel traces of the old battles, they no longer define you. You are standing in the aftermath of victory. The warfare you endured was the birth of generational freedom. Remember this, the curse ends where revelation begins. You saw the truth, and truth set you free. What was once your family's pain will now be your family's praise. You are not the continuation of brokenness, you are the beginning of blessing. Heaven smiles upon you now, not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. The curse has been reversed, and your name has been written among those who turned their family story into a song of grace. The echo of your obedience will travel through time, whispering to future generations it was finished when they believed. The battlefield is quiet now. Chosen one. The dust has settled. The echoes of war have faded, and you stand in a sacred stillness. You've crossed through fire and flood, and what remains is not the sound of struggle, but the whisper of calling. This is your final charge forward, not into chaos, but into purpose. The time of survival is over. The time of divine service has begun. Heaven has trained you for this. Every hardship was a lesson. Every delay a rehearsal for destiny. You've been sculpted like a blade in the hand of the Almighty, sharpened not for destruction, but for deliverance. Now the Spirit says, go forward, not as a wanderer, but as one who carries light into the shadows of others. You are commissioned now, not by men, but by heaven. The very breath of God is behind your steps, the wind of the Spirit pushing you toward your divine assignment. You may not feel ready, but readiness in heaven's language doesn't mean perfection, it means surrender. The command is simple: move in love, walk in purpose, speak truth in tenderness. You are the bridge between heaven and earth, the living evidence that grace still transforms. You are not called to argue light into existence. You are called to be it. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 19, records the words of Jesus, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." That commission was never meant for preachers alone. It was meant for hearts like yours. Hearts that have been broken and healed, emptied and refilled, scarred and still shining. Your life itself is the sermon. Every scar tells someone, if God did it for me, He can do it for you. You've been equipped not with titles, but with tenderness. The same compassion that once made you weep will now become your greatest tool. People will find peace in your presence without knowing why, because heaven's fragrance lingers on those who've walked through pain and come out loving deeper. Now, as you prepare to step into this next chapter, pause for a moment. Feel the quiet weight of this calling. You are not alone in it. All of heaven walks with you. Every angel that saw you cry now walks beside you in victory. And if this message has touched your spirit, if it has reminded you that you are seen and chosen, then know this: you are part of something living, breathing, eternal. These words aren't simply pixels and sound, they are seeds. And every seed needs soil to grow. You are that soil, and through your simple acts of love, the light keeps spreading. That is why, if this message has found you in the right moment, I invite you not with pressure, but with possibility to help keep this garden growing. When you donate, it's not a transaction, it's an act of watering. Your giving becomes rain that keeps this field of hope alive for others still wandering in drought. Think of it this way: somewhere, another heart is about to give up. A voice like this may reach them at the last moment, and when it does, they'll find breath again because someone, somewhere, cared enough to pour a drop of faith into this light. That's the miracle of generosity. It multiplies life. And even if you can't give now, your like, your share, your comment, or your subscription is a beam of light. When you like, you're not just pressing a symbol, you're whispering, "Keep going." When you share, you're placing a lantern in someone's path. When you subscribe, you're saying, "I want to walk beside this light a little longer." And when you comment, even a single word becomes a seed in the soil of faith. It's your echo back to heaven saying, "I hear this. I'm alive in this." Your words help build a chorus of faith, each comment a candle flickering beside another, until the dark corners glow again. These small acts become threads in heaven's tapestry. You might never see the faces your kindness touches, but heaven does. Every ripple you release returns to you multiplied in peace, in joy, in unseen blessings that find their way home. So as you stand at this turning point, chosen one, remember your journey isn't ending, it's expanding. You fought your battle, now you build your legacy. Whether through a gift, a share, a prayer, or simply by carrying this light within you, you are partnering with heaven's mission. The battlefield behind you is now holy ground. The war you survived has become a testimony, and the victory you carry will heal nations. Step forward in faith. Give from your heart. Shine without fear. For when you give, heaven gives through you. You are not just part of a message, you are part of a movement, a divine current flowing through willing hearts. And as you go, remember every act of kindness you sow keeps the flame alive. lighting the path for another soul who still needs to remember they, too, are chosen. Heaven has a way of honoring endurance. Chosen one. It does not forget those who stayed when others fled, who believed when others mocked, who kept moving when their feet bled. Every silent act of faith, every hidden obedience, every prayer whispered in the dark has been recorded. Now, the season of endurance has ripened into the season of reward. You have walked through the wilderness, and the wilderness has taught you wisdom. You learned that faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. You learned that peace is not the absence of pain, it is the presence of God in the midst of it. And now, heaven says it is time. Not time to fight again, but time to receive. The battles of the past season were not in vain. Every one of them was a doorway to glory, though it didn't look that way when you stood on the threshold trembling. The waiting, the losses, the tears, they were all ingredients in heaven's process. The delay was not denial. It was divine timing preparing the perfect alignment for your reward. You may have wondered, why did it take so long? The answer is simple. God was ensuring that what He gives you now will not destroy you later. Blessings given before maturity can become burdens, but blessings released in the fullness of time become foundations. Heaven waited until you were ready not just to receive, but to sustain. There is a quiet dignity in divine reward. It doesn't always arrive with noise or spectacle. Sometimes it slips in gently, the way morning light creeps into a dark room. One day you will wake up and realize peace has settled where fear used to live. Joy has returned to the places sorrow once ruled, and purpose has taken root in the soil of your endurance. The writer of Hebrews declared, in chapter 10, verse 36, you need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. That promise stands before you now. It is not far away, it is unfolding. The reward of endurance is not always material. Often, it's internal. It's the peace that no one can take, the faith that no storm can shake, the wisdom that no loss can erase. These are treasures of the overcomer. And yet, there will also be visible signs, open doors where walls once stood, opportunities you never expected, relationships healed, provision appearing in unexpected places. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven is showing you, I saw it all, and I am faithful to repay. This is not repayment for suffering, it is fulfillment of covenant. You were never enduring for pity, you were enduring for promise. God never wastes pain. Every moment of endurance is a deposit in eternity's account, and when the time is right, heaven releases it with interest. Chosen one, the reward is not only for what you endured, but for who you became through it. You have learned to see with heaven's eyes, to love without expectation, to stand without applause. You no longer chase peace, you carry it. You no longer seek validation, you radiate purpose. That transformation is the true reward. Now, as the weight of this season lifts, you will notice how light you feel. You have shed the heaviness of striving. You are no longer trying to prove your worth. You are resting in it. You are walking in a rhythm that matches heaven's heartbeat, steady, sure, and full of grace. There will still be challenges, but they will no longer intimidate you. You have already faced greater storms and survived. The strength you carry now is not raw, it is refined. You no longer fight for victory, you move from it. Every new assignment will come easier, every answer faster, because you are no longer resisting the flow, you are aligned with it. Heaven's reward is not about comfort, it's about confirmation. It's heaven saying, you have proven faithful with little, now I can trust you with more. The more is not just abundance, it's authority, influence, and the ability to restore what others lost. You are now a carrier of reward, not just a receiver. When others see you, they will feel hope. When they hear your story, they will find courage. Because your endurance became a light, and your reward became a testimony. The same God who carried you through will now carry others through you. So rest now, not in idleness, but in gratitude. The wait was worth it, the pain had purpose, the promise was real. Heaven has honored your endurance, and your name has been written among those who never gave up. You are the living proof that faith tested, tried, and trusted always wins. Heaven is alive with sound tonight. Chosen one not of thunder or war, but of celebration. A song has risen, ancient and bright, echoing through realms that your spirit has touched. It carries your name woven into its melody. What once began as a whisper of pain has become an anthem of triumph. You did not fall. You were forged. You did not lose. You learned how to rise differently. Look around you now in the spirit. The field that was once scorched with battle has begun to bloom again. The soil remembers the tears you shed, and because heaven counted them holy, that very ground has turned to gold beneath your feet. The same place where you once knelt in surrender has become your altar of victory. You are standing on the other side of the wilderness, not unscarred, but undeniably transformed. Heaven's celebration is not loud, it is luminous. The glory that surrounds you now is not decoration, it is recognition. Every bruise you carried became a badge, every scar a story, every sigh a sacred signature of faith. There was a time when you begged for the battle to end. Now you realize that without it, you would not have learned the language of victory. It is written in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verses 7 and 8. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. You have lived those words, chosen one. You have fought not against flesh and blood alone, but against the inner storms that no one else saw. You finished not because it was easy, but because heaven would not let you fall where you began. And you kept the faith not through applause, but through silence, through waiting, through nights when the only light was the promise you refused to let go of. Heaven celebrates differently than earth. While the world throws parties for achievements, heaven rejoices for endurance. Angels do not applaud wealth or fame, they marvel at faith that survives the furnace. Your crown is not given for being the strongest, but for never abandoning the light even when the dark pressed close. That's why heaven sings tonight, because you did not trade your calling for comfort. You can feel it now, the shift in the air. The quiet knowing that the season of suffering has turned into a season of shining. The pain that once seemed endless has become your language of empathy. You no longer speak from theory, you speak from transformation. When you comfort others, heaven's voice moves through yours. When you walk into a room, peace follows because you've walked through storms that taught you its value. The earth beneath you feels it too. Creation responds when someone fulfills their divine journey. The trees sway differently. The wind hums softer. Even time seems to pause in reverence. Because when a chosen one finishes their appointed race, the world shifts slightly toward light. The vibration of your victory reaches farther than you know. It awakens sleeping hearts, reminding them that endurance still matters. You are not who you were at the beginning of this story. The timid believer has become a torchbearer. The broken vessel has become an instrument of healing. The wanderer has become a witness. Heaven doesn't just celebrate your endurance, it commissions your legacy. What you endured will outlive you, echoing through generations that will never know your name but will walk on the paths you cleared with faith. And now, heaven leans near, its song still playing, its light still shining, and whispers, "Rest, not the rest of defeat, but the rest of completion. You have reached the point where striving ceases and surrender becomes strength. You have proven that love outlasts loss, that grace outshines guilt, that hope resurrects what fear buried. Look toward the horizon. Do you see it? The first shimmer of eternity touching time. That is your inheritance, the reward not for perfection, but for perseverance." The king himself steps forward, holding the crown he formed from every act of faith you offered, from every yes you whispered in the dark. He places it upon your spirit not to exalt you above others, but to remind creation that love wins, that faith finishes, that those who are broken become the builders of new beginnings. Heaven celebrates because you did not give up. You walked through the valley, and now you stand in glory. The sound rises higher, swelling through eternity's halls. The chosen one has overcome. Heaven rejoices and the earth bows in awe. Your light now burns where darkness once reigned. Your song echoes where silence once ruled. This is the fulfillment, the final crescendo, heaven's applause wrapping around you like eternal morning. Chosen one, if these words have walked beside you, if they have lifted you when silence was heavy, then know this heaven has already marked the seed planted in your heart. This message was never meant to end here, it was meant to begin in you. You are part of something living now, a flowing current of light that keeps spreading through listening hearts. Every time you like this message, it's as if you press your palm against the window of heaven and let a little more light through. When you share, you become the messenger, carrying hope to places your voice may never reach. If you choose to comment, even a few words become ripples on still water. They tell heaven, "I'm here. I heard. I believe." Your words become lanterns guiding others toward peace. Each comment, however small, adds another spark to the constellation of faith forming across hearts that once felt alone. When you subscribe, you're not joining a list, you're joining a rhythm. You're saying, "Let the next wave of light find me again." It's a quiet covenant with heaven that says, "I want to keep growing, keep glowing, keep hearing what my soul was made for." And for those who feel moved to donate, think of it not as giving away, but as planting forward. Every seed you place in this ground becomes a thread of gold woven into someone else's rescue story. Your generosity keeps the flame alive, the message breathing, the light traveling. There's no demand here, only invitation. Heaven never forces the heart, it simply opens its hands. If this light has touched you, let it move through you, because every small act done in love becomes eternal. And together, we'll keep this fire burning.